What could you do to protect your pets if you're sick or injured? My product, Save My Pet ID tag, helps you ensure that your beloved pets are safe and well cared for, even when life isn't what you expect.
One of the most prolific authors on the planet is back on our show with, surprise, a new book. Love the title and the topic. The book is called, Why Can't My Brother Be More Like My Cat? Please welcome back to our show, award-winning author, Alia Zobel Nolan. Alia, nice to see ya.
I'm so excited to be here again. This is my favorite show, and I'm just excited.
Well, settle down. We got lots to do. Now, you have written like 1 million plus books. I'm not kidding, but I don't even know if you have kept count. Do you know how many books you've written?
No, actually, I say 150 plus. I was trying to keep up on my website how many and what they won and everything. I spent my whole time doing that, so I said, forget about it. It's 150 plus. And a lot of them are still around, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Some of
and
them,
you kind of had two main targets. Who are they? What's your subjects?
well, it's God and cats. And
Wow, that's two powerful beings.
and then the cats that think they are God. It's the two things. It's the two things. But
And you are coming from a nice little, probably high vibe energy for writing room in what part of the country?
I am in Norwalk, beautiful downtown Norwalk, Connecticut, which is, people don't know about Norwalk, but they know about Stamford. It's a major stop on the trains, but ours isn't.
Oh, yeah. And you share that abode. You want to start with the two-legger and then move on to the four-leggers you have?
The two-legger is my husband, Desmond Finbar Nolan. Finbar is the patron saint of Ireland.
Oh, don't you know?
No, not the patron saint, sorry, back up. Patron saint of Cork. And the two-legged ones are Colleen Fiona Shannon Nolan, who is trying to get in. I hear her.
And that is a feline, right?
That's a feline. I couldn't figure out what name to name her, so I named her all of them. Do I call her any of these? No, I call her Girly Cat. So now the other one is Nolan. Now Nolan was at the rescue place, and I wanted a black cat because black cats get a bad rap, and a lot of people don't adopt them. So I always adopt a black cat. I walked in, I didn't see any. On my way out, and I didn't want a kitten because kittens they get into everything, and I wanted a teenager. So I'm walking out the door, and I hear this. And I looked over, and there was a little boy of black fluff sitting in the cage. And what was this cat's name? Nolan.
No way. It was destined.
So my husband said, they saw you coming, and they switched the name.
I'm sure. I bet they did.
So we call him Nolan. And
Now you've got one more that might have a species confusing name.
Yes. Well, I never not that I didn't like a dog, but I'm a solitarian. I'm up here and I'm writing, and I can't have dogs barking and the Amazon guy coming and all this stuff. So I never had a dog. So the woman kept sending me from the rescue, kept sending me all of these beautiful dogs. But I used to say, do they bark? Are they rambunctious? And she would say, yeah, they're like crazy. So I couldn't do it. So then she sends me a picture of this one dog, the most gorgeous dog. And I went down there, and the dog didn't say anything, and it backed up to me like beep, and was backing up to me. And I said, I really love this dog. Let me talk to my husband about it. So I went home, and I told him, this dog I think this is the one, but don't get it because I have to cat proof the place.
Yeah. Dog proof.
I get dog food and clothes, everything and whatever. Well, half an hour later, the doorbell rings, and here he is with the dog in his hand, in his arms. The dog wouldn't get in the car. The dog wouldn't get out of the car. But so because he has been exposed to cats our whole married life, he started saying to the dog, here, kitty, here, kitty. And so we said, that's the perfect name, Miss Kitty, the dog.
What kind of dog? How much does Miss Kitty weigh?
Miss Kitty weighs about, I would say, 52 pounds. And I thought she was a mutt. But it turns out Miss Kitty, we did the DNA, is a foxhound, an American foxhound. And that's why she's purebred. And that's why they had her in the puppy mill. They were breeding her. The vet said she's had like 5,000 litters.
Aw.
So, but she's very strange. She's not strange. She's perfect for me because she doesn't bark.
Yes. And how does she respect Nolan and Girly Girl?
What she does is Nolan walks up to her and they touch noses and everything, and no problem. I thought I was going to have a problem with Nolan because he can be obstreperous at times running after his sister, but he's a smart cat. I am very little. The dog is very big. So I will not fool around with this animal. So yeah, they get along. Everybody, thank you, Jesus, gets along fantastically. So,
all right. Well, we wanted to have you back on the show. We're going to start before the break because I come from a big family and I do have a kid brother. And you have a book that says, "Why can't my brother be more like my cat?" And it is for children, but I think for children of all ages.
right.
You want to kind of tee up what inspired you to do this book and how you landed a New York Times
Wow.
quality illustrator in Lee Wildish.
Yes. Well, I write for kids and I write for cats. And I've never written a cat book for kids, which is ridiculous. So I decided, like, duh. So I went back to all my books, my 13 books, and they seem to have a theme. And it was all about but 101 reasons why a cat is better than a man, another 100 reasons why a cat is better than a man, why a cat is still better than a man. So
And you're still happily married to your man.
and there's a theme going through this. And I thought, well, these books are successful. So how can I adapt that to a kid's book? So I thought, well, I'll change the man to brother. And instead of sibling rivalries have been around since Cain and Abel, but instead of having the brother and the sister, we'll have the brother and the cat. So that's how I came up with that.
And let's confess, do you even have a younger brother?
No, I don't. But I had a sister, God rest her soul. I had a sister who was a PIA. She put a lobster in my bed once, really. And she was teaching me how to dance. And we had a slippery floor, linoleum, and she twirled me around and she let me go. And I banged into the chairs and the couch and everything. And she also was a health nut. So she liked the room where we both slept to be like -4 degrees. She pumping. And I would say, we're freezing in here. And she said, it's good for you. You have to sleep with the windows open.
Is she older or younger than you?
She was older than
Okay. So what was her name?
Victoria.
Okay. So Victoria, in her own way, is kind of an inspiration for the idea of this book. Why can't my brother be more like my cat? Correct?
Yes.
All right. Hey, everybody. We're speaking with this award-winning, very prolific author, Aaliyah Zobel Nolan. We're going to find out more about this book. We're going to find out more. Maybe she'll share a few tips on how to get your book published after we take this quick break. And you know the drill. You got to sit, purr. We'll be right back.
Hey, have you heard? Four-Legged Life has a new digital newsletter. Here, let me show you how you get yourself subscribed. So you just type in Four-Legged Life, and that'll take you to the website. There we go. And this magic thing just appears, and you type in your email address. I'll use, let's see, how about coolestdogever@gmail.com. That's me. And then you just click on this thing here. There you go. It's the new digital newsletter from Four-Legged Life. Get subscribed today.
Hey, pet pals, welcome back to Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life Show. You got me, Arden Moore, and I got one of my good buds here. Her name is Aaliyah Zobel Nolan. Check her out. She's written a zillion books on cats, on God. And before we dive into her latest book, which is a great title, Why Can't My Brother Be More Like My Cat? Aaliyah, how do people find you? Because I want them to scurry after the show and buy a bunch of your books.
Okay. My website is Aaliyah Writes. Very simple.
And that everyone is ALLIAWRITES.
Correct. And you can go on Amazon and just plug my name in, and you could just sit there for a while and see which ones you like. So,
Well, I really like this one. Having a kid brother. Shout out to my brother Kevin, who I do love, and he's one of those real men love cats kind of guys. Tell us the tale. You've got a redhead gal in the book, and you got the brother and you got the cat. Talk about tee us up for it, and then tell us about the illustrator, because this is big news.
okay. I'm not quite understanding what your first question.
So tell us, what's the premise? What's the...
Well, sibling rivalry, which I had to say that 5 times because I couldn't get it out of my mouth. Sibling rivalry since Cain and Abel has been a thing. And when I was looking back at all my books, I saw that there was a pattern. So I decided, instead of the the brother versus sister, it would be the cat versus the brother. And it's not brother bashing, it's cat enhancing. So I decided that, and as much as I love my babies, a cat can sometimes be fickle. So you can't always depend on them. Whereas a brother might be a pain in the neck, but when push comes to shove, they really will be there for you. Most of them, anyway, will be there for you. And there was Kenny Rogers, when I was doing research for this book, came up with a meme or a statement saying that friends will come and go, but family is always around. And in the Bible, there's a statement in scripture that says a brother loves at all times. A friend loves at all times, but a brother is made for adversity. So cats, like I said, can be very fickle. And take cat food, for instance. You put down the wet cat food, veggie cat food, and they love it and they eat it up and they're purring and, oh, mommy, I love you. So you go out and you buy 5,000 cans of this stuff, and the next day they're burying it. So.
All right. Yeah. So you're getting the catitude and also the brother in the book, and it's very well illustrated. Who is this illustrator you got?
Well, when I'm looking for illustrators, I look at their portfolios, and I looked at this man's portfolio, and I've loved him from afar for a really long time. His name is Lee Wildish.
I love the last name, Wildish. You can't go wrong.
He's a New York Times best-selling illustrator. So he's done zillions of books that have been on the New York Times best-selling list. And I said, well, what, are you crazy? You're going to try to get him? You're out of your mind. And I said, you know what? He can only say no. Let me try. Because I looked in his portfolio, and the picture of the illustration of one of the characters, the main character, red hair, out to here, so wonderful. And I said, I really love her. So I wrote him a letter, and I sent an email, and I said, do you think you might be able to do this? I said, no worries if you can't.
I'm just a humble multi-award-winning author that has written 7 million books, but give me a shot.
Yeah, well, I did kind of intimate that I had a few books that he might want to look at before he makes his decision. And he emailed me back. I was like, I was so shocked it wasn't funny. And
Nice.
He said he's in between books, and that this book didn't have a lot of background in it. It had 3 characters.
Yeah.
A 32-page, children's book. And he said, I think I'd be able to fit it in. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So I spent a lot of time working up an art brief, because I self-published this. And he said, why don't you can put the badge that says that he's a big deal on the front cover, which I didn't even ask him for it. And he was such a wonder to work with, a dear to work with, so easy. And I learned how to do money transfers to England. I learned all these different things because I was dealing directly with him. So I was very fortunate. And you had asked me about some advice for
Yes.
people who are thinking of self-publishing. I never self-published till about 3 years ago, or whenever the pandemic was 2020. And you have to have a belief in yourself, and you have to take a chance. I took a chance with this guy. What can he do? He could say no. But as it turned out, he said yes. And it was a wonderful experience all around.
Well, you also said there's another trait, persistence. Not stubbornness, persistence. What's the difference?
Well, a stubbornness is when you are trying to pound something into somebody's head, like take this. But if you are persistent and you're trying to get it, for instance, you're trying to go with a traditional publisher, don't get upset or get depressed if someone says no, because everybody's taste is different. And not only that, but in this business, your editor that you have this morning might be gone this afternoon. So you have to think about the next person and to send it out as many times as you want. And what I do is sometimes I put it in my drawer and I wait a couple of years and I take it back out and I look at it and I say, okay, this is a good time for this. And
nice.
I try to send it out again because there's whole new people. In a couple of years, there's all new people.
Exactly.
And people have different likes and dislikes. The last book I did, Harriet Hurry Up, that was 16 years in the making.
Wow.
Because I had a woman at Random House that was interested in it, but then she said, well, I'm not quite sure, and this and that. So I put it away. I took it out. And a couple of years later, and we published it. I didn't post it.
Where did you get the bug to write?
I don't know. I started out as a bad artist. I love color, so I used to play around, but I didn't have the patience to learn how to make things look okay. I mean, I splashed color on them, and I always wrote because it was cathartic. When I was angry or upset or something, I wrote, and I didn't write for publication. I just wrote for myself. And
I'm glad you're writing for us. Everyone, we're speaking with Alia Zobel Nolan. I have several of her books. I love Cat Confessions. You want to name a couple of the titles that have been award-winning that people after the show will dive in on Amazon to get?
Well, I have Cat Confessions, which kids really like it. It's funny. It's not a cat book, but it has pictures of cats in it. I wrote Why a Cat is Still Better Than a Man. That was a redo because it was, I revived it because the first book was 15 years ago and there's a whole new group of people who are interested in cats. I wrote Purr More, Hiss Less, Heavenly Lessons I Learned from My Cat, Heavenly Headbutts, let's see, Why Cats Make Great Kids, Everything I Know About the Rat Race I Learned from My Cat.
That one I have. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
So you get the idea, everybody, pet pals. We got somebody here that knows how to reach you with words, with great illustrations, and is probably a cat's best advocate. And she's got God on her side. Gee, you got it all.
Yes. Let's hope. I really do feel blessed because I didn't start out doing this. I mean, I did it for myself, but I didn't do it and I wanted to be a window dresser in Saks Fifth Avenue. That's what I thought I would be. And I gave up the artist thing because the art teacher told me that I should get a better job or get a day job or whatever. So it just turned out to be a blessing.
It is a blessing, and it is a blessing to have your friendship. It is a blessing to have your books available. Everybody, please go to AliaWrites.com. Check out her books on Amazon, Alia Zobel Nolan. And please, you got kids or the kid in you, get her latest book. It is called Why Can't My Brother Be More Like My Cat? So, Alia, last question. How have cats made you a better human?
Well, they've taught me patience. They've taught me love. They've taught me to be, I guess patience is the one thing, and love and amazement. it's just amazing when you look at them and you see the whiskers shining in the sun and everything. It's amazing how this creature is around. I love cats. I love cats.
I do too, and I love dogs, and I love them both. I actually do love people. That's just me. I got the trio. There you go.
Yes.
Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life.
Four-Legged Life.
Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content.
Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.